Hello, everybody. It's me, Connor. If you couldn't tell, I know I have a pretty distinctive face. I'm not here on a Thursday because everybody's during the meeting, so I'm not going to tell you to pray for them all. Yeah, I will. Continue to pray for our leadership as usual. Even if they're not having a meeting, they're still dealing with a whole bunch of decisions and roughness, and now Oregon's looking at possibly shutting down as a state again. It's rough. So continue to pray for them. Continue to pray for Ashley. She's still kind of under the weather, not feeling very good. So she said I could ask you guys to pray for her. You don't need to blow up her phone. But please just keep her in her prayers. Keep me and Jordan in your prayers because when we set the date for our wedding, COVID wasn't a thing. And then when COVID hit, we said there's no way it's still going to be here by the time our wedding comes around. But it's looking like it still will be. And, as much as it sounds easy to just be like, oh, we'll just make a decision to change it, it's not easy. It's not easy changing dates around, changing photographers around, changing all that stuff around. So please, please, please pray for me and Jordan. Today, I wanted to stick with basics. As we've been talking about the last few times that I've been doing devotionals. We've gone through the fruits of the Spirit, the Ten Commandments, the Beatitudes, and some other things. And I wanted to keep it within the basics, but I feel like there's something that just needs to be talked about. Well, there's a lot of things that need to be talked about. We live in a society today that is full of hate. And that's both American culture and a worldwide culture. It's selfish, and it's almost as if it's easier to live in a society of hate than a society of love. It's easier to find differences and division and things to be mad at people for. It's easier to do all that than to love people. And so that's what brought me to the basics of Christianity, of love. And what I mean by that is, if I were to summarize the Bible to somebody who had never heard of the Bible, and they just came up to me and said, well, what's this Bible about? I would say it's about love. And I don't want to say Christians, because I can't speak for all Christians. Anybody who tries to speak for all Christians is wrong, because they can't. But I can say what I see in society from non-Christians and Christians is I'm not seeing love. I'm not seeing love. I can only speak from what I see of Christians, and I see a lot of division, both within the church, with amongst themselves, and with how they're treating outside difficulties, how they're handling other things. I have to apologize if there's noise in the background. My cat just decided that it just needed to start crying. So if you hear a cat meowing, don't freak out. And especially in this time of turmoil with everything that's happening politically and with COVID-19, and it just seems like if there was a weight scale of hate and love, that the amount of hate is just so much heavier than the amount of love. And I don't mean that in the sense of love is light and it's free. I mean that in the sense of how much is happening. There's a lot more hate happening than a lot more love. And so I wanted to read you guys Corinthians 13. Corinthians 13, if you guys most Christians know this is, generally seen as the chapter of love, because this is where we get love is patient, love is kind, but I'm not going to read that part to you. I want to read what Paul says in the beginning of Corinthians 13. He says, if I speak in the tongues of men and of angels, but I do not have love, I have become nothing but a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy, and I know all the mysteries and have all knowledge, even if I have faith to remove mountains, but I do not have love, I am nothing. And even if I give all my possessions and feed the poor, and if I surrender my body, but I do not do it out of love, it profits me nothing. We live in a society that needs to hear this. Now, I'm not saying that they need to hear it because it talks about the gifts of tongues and angels and prophecy, but what Paul is trying to say here is, if it doesn't matter what you do, if you don't do it in love, it's a waste of time. It's nothing. It's worthless. It's trash. I know that might sound a little harsh, but it is the harsh truth of it all. You can have tongues, which is an amazing gift that not a lot of people have. You can have interpretation, which is an amazing gift. But if you're a jerk, to put it plainly, it doesn't matter. You can have the gift of prophecy, where you can go to random people and you can give them a word that you don't understand, and they just get it and they break down crying because, oh my gosh, that is what God's been saying to me all along, and it's amazing, it's crazy, and we all love when that happens. But if you're a jerk, it doesn't mean anything. I like this part. It says that even if I give all of my possessions to feed the poor and I surrender my body to be burned. How many of us have taken a video of us giving some homeless person money? Are we doing it out of love? Because he says you can do that. You can do it out of not love, but it's not really profiting anything. We live in a world where I don't even want to scroll through Facebook. You know, that used to be one of my favorite things to do, is just late night, can't sleep, scroll through Facebook, look at memes, look at what people are posting. I don't even want to anymore because it's just filled with hate. Hate for police, hate for BLM, hate for Democrats, hate for Republicans, hate, all of it's hate. Everyone has their side and they want to defend their side and hate on everybody else. I can't control everybody else, but what I can tell you is that there is a basics of Christianity that is founded in love. In the Gospels, there's a part, I believe it's in Matthew, and it says that even the Gentiles can love their family and people who agree with them. Because that makes sense, it's easy. But what makes unique to Christians, it says, what makes Christians different is the fact that we can love our enemies. And I think what our favorite thing to do is that we say we love our enemies, but then we don't show that we love our enemies. We say that we want to be nice to everybody, and even though we disagree, we're still friends, but then we just trash talk them and say how stupid they are. That's not love. That doesn't mean we have to start agreeing on everything, because that's just not a realistic ideal. But what it means is that we need to get back to the way that it was. I mean, I even remember it in my life, a time where we could disagree and be fully friends. Now, maybe that's just because I was young and I'm an adult and I'm full of weird ideals of people working together, but it needs to start with Christians. And it doesn't need to start with Christians because Christianity needs to make a resurgence or anything. It needs to start with Christianity because the Bible tells us it needs to start with us. It needs to start with us because Jesus says the most important thing is to love your God and then love your neighbor. And if you want to really pick apart what that means, it doesn't mean the person who lives right and left of you. It means everybody. Everybody's your neighbor. Everybody's your friend. Everybody deserves equal respect. And that needs to start with the Christians, because I don't have a Bible in my hand, I use my phone, but because the Bible tells us to. I want to issue a challenge to every single person. Find somebody that would be a quote-unquote an enemy. And I don't just mean that person who's not really an enemy but you like to pretend it. I mean, like, find someone who really irks you, who really gets under your skin. And for no apparent reason, don't tell them you're doing it for this reason, but just love on them. randomly. You know, not in a Christian sense, but my dad always used to tell me that if I have a bully, or, like someone who gets under my skin or whatever, that the best thing I should do when I have to deal with him is to just smile and agree with him. And why I say he didn't mean it in a Christian sense is because he said it because it will really piss them off that they can't get under your skin. And as funny as it sounds, and not Christian, like I said, what if you did just return their hate with love? What would it do? Could we stop some fights, stop some enemies, by just not returning with hatred, but instead returning with a loving smile? Who knows? So, like I said, I want to issue you guys that challenge. Find somebody who you would they irk you, they bully you, you bully them, I don't know, and just love on them this week, randomly, for no reason. Don't give them the reason why. Don't say it was a challenge from your daily devotional. Just love on them for no reason other than to love on them. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Love. It's honestly, I used up 11 minutes and 42 seconds on a thing that I feel like Christians shouldn't have to even have messages about, because it's so simple. Just love on them. And read Corinthians 13, all of it, and ask yourself, are you loving people? I'm out. I'll see you guys on Sunday, because I'm giving the message on Sunday. On Thursday, I believe you're going to see Ashley. Until then, just love on people, guys. Out.